The ratio of green candies to pink candies is 6 to 8. Write two equivalent ratios, one with a total of 42 candies and one with a total of 7 candies. I know that there are 6 green to 8 pink for a total of 14. We're particularly interested right now in 42 candies for a total. So we ask ourselves, what times 14 will give us 42? Well, that would be 3. So then we can take each other number and multiply by 3 as well, so that we get an equivalent ratio. 6 times 3 is 18, and 8 times 3 is 24. We have created one equivalent ratio. We also want to know what we could multiply by to get to 7. Well, to get from 14 to 7, yes, we could subtract 7, but we also could divide by 2. So if I were to divide the other numbers by 2, we would get 3 and 4. There are many equivalent ratios that we can make. And we can simplify equivalent ratios using visual models, tables, and fractions. Help the teachers decide if they have enough students for at least 15 basketball teams with 5 players per team. Will there be students who do not get to participate? Here are the following things that we know. Mr. Jones's class has the same number of students as Mrs. Gilmore. Their female to male ratio is 1 to 2. Mr. Jack's class has a female to male ratio of 5 to 4, and they have 12 boys. Mrs. Gilmore's class has a female to male ratio of 3 to 2 with 18 girls. Let's start with Mr. Jack's class. He has a female to male student ratio of 5 to 4 in his class. He has also 12 boys. Well, how can we then determine how many girls there are? Let's build a table. We know that there are 5 girls for every 4 boys. If we have 12 boys then, how many girls are there? Well, 4 times 3 gives us 12. Therefore, 5 times 3 is 15. Now we can find out how many total students we have by adding 15 girls plus 12 boys for 27 students. Let's go visit Mrs. Gilmore's class. She also has a female to male student ratio of 3 girls to 2 boys. If her class has 18 girls, how many boys are there? So we have a 3 to 2 ratio. We know this time that we have 18 girls, so I can build to 18 by multiplying 3 times 6. So therefore, 2 times 6 gives us 12. Her class has a total of 18 plus 12, so 30 students. Mr. Jones's class has the same number of students as Mrs. Gilmore's class. His class has a female to male ratio of 1 to 2. So if we have a female to male ratio of 1 to 2, this particular ratio has a total of 3. If they have the same amount of students as Mrs. Gilmore's class, that means the total also has to be 30. I can get from 3 to 30 by multiplying by 10. If I multiply 1 by 10 and 2 by 10, we get 10 and 20 respectively. Therefore, we also have 30 students here. We did not have to fill out the table, but it was good practice anyways. We need to know how many total students we have. So if I add all my students up, we have a total of 87 students. We also know that one team is equal to 5 students. Let's use a double bar line to determine how many teams we can make with the students that we have. One team is 5 students. 2 teams is 10 students. And if we were to fill out our whole table, we'd get to 9. We don't have enough room to continue because we need to get to 87. Our table only went to 45. So I continued with a second table and just kept on going. 10 teams is 50 students. 11 is 55. I get all the way to 17 teams and I have 85 students. I don't have enough to have 18 teams. That would require 90 students. So I have 87 students altogether and a team to make 85. That means that 2 students won't get to play. Rory and Lorelei are racing snails in science class together to gather data about habitat. Here is the data they collected. Snail A went 5 inches in 10 minutes, and snail B went 3 inches in 20 minutes. Rory says snail B can travel 23 inches in 40 minutes. Snail B will win. However, Lorelei says snail A can travel 20 inches in 40 minutes. What might Lorelei's reaction be to Rory, and which snail will actually win the race? Let's look at snail A first. Its ratio is 5 inches to 10 minutes. We're particularly interested in both situations, how far they can travel in 40 minutes. Well, 10 times 4 gives me 40, so 4 times 5 is 20. So snail A can travel 20 inches in 40 minutes. Let's compare that to snail B. That snail can go 3 inches in 20 minutes, and we're also particularly interested in how far they can go in 40 minutes. So 20 times 2 is 40, and 3 times 2 is 6. Remember, a ratio is a comparison by division. We need to use their multiplicative relationships. When we compare how far each snail will travel in 40 minutes, we see that snail A travels much farther in 40 minutes than snail B. Therefore, snail A wins the race. Now there are 3 snails. Which of these 3 snails will go furthest in 1 hour? So I've got some charts for us that we can fill out. Chart 1, we know that this snail travels 5 inches in 10 minutes. We want to know how far they can go in 1 hour. Recall that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So I can get from 10 to 60 by multiplying by 6. 5 times 6 gives us 30. Snail B can crawl 3 inches in 20 minutes. We're again particularly interested how far they can go in 60 minutes or 1 hour. 20 times 3 gives me 60. So 3 times 3 gives us 9. So far, snail A is truly winning. Snail C. Snail C can go 8 inches in 15 minutes. Again, we want to know how far they can go in 60 minutes. 15 times 4 gives me 60, so 8 times 4 is 32. It appears as if snail C will win the race. Ashley spent 40 minutes on homework and Michael worked for 1,800 seconds. Michael said, "Wow, I spent longer on my homework than you." Ashley said, "I'm not sure about that." Do you agree with Michael's statement and explain? We know that 1 minute is 60 seconds, so we can create a double bar line with minutes comparing to seconds. So 0 minutes would be 0 seconds, 1 minute is 60 seconds, and I go all the way over to 6 minutes and 360 seconds. We have a long way to go. So we're going to create another chart, and I'm going to base it off of 5 minutes at a time so that we can get going on our chart a little more quickly. So still 0, 0, 5 minutes is 300, 10 is 600, 15 is 900, etc. And then I circled 30 minutes in 1,800 seconds and 40 minutes with 2,400 seconds. Clearly, 40 minutes is longer than 1,800 seconds. So Ashley spent more time on her homework. Homework. I want you to find your favorite recipe to share with the class. You're going to make the recipe for everyone in class, including yourself, to have a single serving. This means you may need to alter your recipe a bit. I'd like you to state the following of your original recipe: the recipe name, how many it serves, and amount of each ingredient required. Then determine how many batches you would need for each student in class to have a serving. Use ratios to update your recipe using tables, double number lines, or pictures to justify your new recipe amounts of ingredients. Would altering the number of batches you need change the cooking instructions of your recipe? Include directions for making your recipe, then scan and upload your documents into the recipe discussion board. Comment on 2 of your classmates' recipe strategies. Your final assignment for this week is to print the homework file included in the Practice Problems homework Dropbox. Complete the problems as outlined within the homework pages. Scan and upload your documents back into the Practice Problems Dropbox.